It was a season that started off bleak.
Those guys never lost faith in one another, and that was born out of all of those struggles in the first 41 games.
We continued to encourage each other, and that became the character of our team.
Turned around by an historical winning streak.
3 seconds left for 3 in the win. Yes!
We kept winning and winning and winning and winning.
James Johnson drives in. What a dunk!
It's a credit to the Heat culture of believing that winning matters.
Maintained by willpower and selflessness.
Score it and a foul. Johnson to Johnson.
We started to realize that we need everyone to win.
Whiteside tips it in, and the Heat win the game!
You open the season 11 and 30, and then you go 30 and 11. That's really unique.
Ultimately forming an unforgettable bond.
The season started out, we were strangers. Strangers became friends, and then friends became family.
I'm not sure I've ever seen as compelling a regular season as what 16-17 Heat offered.
Inside the Heat, season recap. Welcome to Inside the Heat, the season recap. And hello again, everybody. I'm Eric Reed. In the summer of 2016, the Heat went through a dramatic and emotional offseason of change with the loss of 7 veterans, including Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. So Pat Riley had to quickly reassemble a team around a returning core of young talent and, of course, the veteran leadership of Goran Dragic and the captain Udonis Haslem. What Riley did was add some intriguing talent like James Johnson, Dion Waiters, Wayne Ellington, Luke Babbitt, Willie Reed, and Rodney Magruder. And this 29th Heat team took their first steps toward a memorable season by embracing the Heat culture right from the start when training camp got underway in the Bahamas.
When you come here, you're new, you don't really know what to expect.
Take the screen and help each other.
All we got is each other right now, so, we have to bond.
These guys took strides in becoming more connected.
You got the whole organization in one building. We're here for one purpose.
We know we're not going to win every game, but as long as we can put ourselves in a position to do so, the results will come.
After starting the season 2-2, the Heat began to struggle.
They're in a major slump. They've lost 6 in a row.
I kept trying to tell everybody just calm down, just breathe, and just go out there and just play the game.
As the team tried to figure things out on the court, off the court emotions ran high when Dwayne Wade returned to the Heat's house.
Dwayne Wade!
That night was about Miami saying thank you.
The Heat are tied for the fewest wins in the league. They're 4-9.
In early December, Miami continued to struggle, losing 5 straight, and injuries did not make things easier.
Every week it felt like a different guy was going down.
Once we get healthy, I think, things might start turning around.
We understand that if we keep putting in the work, we're going to continue to get over this hump and get better as a team.
In mid-December, the Heat won back-to-back games for the first time this season. Dragic led the win against Washington with a season-high 34 points.
Dragic, short jumper, he finds the way.
He was the head of the snake tonight. Anytime we play like that, we got a great opportunity to win.
Hassan highlighted the Pacers' victory with a 2020 game.
And Whiteside ends the game with his 22nd rebound. Miami Heat win the game.
A few games later, Whiteside had another magical night when the Heat faced Orlando.
Whiteside with a crusher on a pretty lob from Richardson.
Hassan finished the game tying his career high with 32 points. Tyler Johnson also stepped up, coming off the bench with a career-high 32 points, the most any Heat reserve has ever scored.
Oh my! A thunder jam from Tyler Johnson.
Unfortunately, the 2 career highs were not enough to close out the game, and the Heat suffered a devastating double overtime loss.
No disrespect to the Magic or anything, but that was the most disappointing loss of the season.
In all of these games, they were tight games where they were kind of learning how to finish games.
Until all of these painful moments, start to turn the other way, and then it can become a great benefit.
For the 3rd time in franchise history, the Miami Heat retired a player's jersey, number 32, for Shaquille O'Neal.
He's a great man, he's a great player. We're so honored tonight to be able to do something we wanted to do for a long time. And we want to raise right now Shaquille O'Neal to the rafters where he belongs.
When I was getting traded from LA, I said if I want to play anywhere, I want to play in Miami. I want to thank the Harrison family. I want to thank the Heat organization, Pat, Coach Riley. I couldn't have done it without you. You pushed us and you pushed us. I love you and I respect you. So Miami, thank you guys. I love you guys. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Thank you.
The emotional ceremony lifted the Heat to overcome a 19-point deficit.
Double clutch off the glass, got it! And for the first time tonight, Miami leads.
Led by Justice Winslow, who had a career-high 23 points and 13 rebounds to beat the Lakers. Despite the inspiring come-from-behind victory, the new year did not end on a high note with more injuries and losses to finish the halfway mark of the season at 11-30.
It was rough at that point. They were coming off a 1-5 West Coast trip, second worst record in the NBA.
I think outside the organization there was some sentiment that maybe the thing to do is just let it go.
11-30, this is our job, this is our livelihood. For people to say go and entertain, that's disrespectful. We were a little disappointed with ourselves. We had set higher goals and higher expectations, but one thing that we did, we continued to fight.
Those guys never lost faith in one another, and that was born out of all of those struggles in the first 41 games.
Welcome back to Inside the Heat. Despite finishing the first half of the season with a disappointing 11-30 record, the Miami Heat's belief in themselves never wavered. Coach Erik Spoelstra saw a turnaround coming, but in order for that to happen, the Heat would need contributions from every player, and the team bought in, trusted the process, and developed a strong bond as a result, a bond that would lead to something special.
The Heat returning home from a rough road trip.
Facing the Houston Rockets, one of the best teams in the Western Conference.
They give the ball right to Tyler Johnson. Free one, showtime, left-hand layup.
Hard fought for the Heat. They upset the Rockets.
These guys, they really care about winning, and they hearted in the right place.
2 more wins and a career-high 33 points from Dion Waiters gave the Heat their first 3-game winning streak of the season. But when the best team in the league came to town, riding a 7-game streak of their own, the Heat would need another big night from their shooting guard.
Tough three for Waiters. Come on! Dion Waiters to the rescue.
With a tie game looking like it could go to overtime, Waiters had other ideas.
5 seconds in the game. Waiters against Thompson for 3 in the win. Yes! Do you believe it?
I'm blessed, man. We work extremely hard. The hours that people don't see, it's finally paying off.
You came away from that night thinking that the season was about to change in a really big way.
That feeling continued in Brooklyn, where the Heat fought like they have all season, this time out of an 18-point hole in the fourth quarter.
I kept telling them that we're going to win this game. We're down 14. We're going to win this game.
Ellington from deep. Kaboom! Ellington step back 3. Got it! Tied up at 99!
The emergence of Wayne Ellington, the Heat's newest sharpshooter, ignited the comeback. And rookie Okaro White, recently called up from the D-League on a 10-day contract, hit the biggest 3 of his NBA career to put the Heat up 1 with under a minute left.
Oh my! Okaro White!
But Heat Nation waited for one more clutch shot. This one courtesy of the Eastern Conference Player of the Week.
Yes! Dion Waiters does it again!
It just felt like, man, you've got to start here.
I always knew that if I ever had the opportunity, I could make that shot because I just wanted it so bad. I just wanted it so bad.
The Heat picked up their 6th straight win in Chicago.
Look at that teamwork.
And once again relied on Ellington's hot hand to get past the Pistons.
Ellington 3. Count them all!
He's incendiary. He can get you going.
Suddenly, the Heat are unbeatable.
Their 7th win in a row.
Kept winning and winning and winning and winning.
Coach Spo did an unbelievable job not allowing us to lay down. And that kind of became the character of our team.
I told y'all since day one, I go to war with these guys any day of the week.
After picking up 2 more victories, Hassan Whiteside would back up those words when the Heat look for their 10th straight win.
He's active. He has the huge first quarter, double-double in the first quarter.
Whiteside to the rim and a jam inside. Whiteside with another offensive rebound. He's manhandling the Sixers.
Whiteside dominated his way to 30 points and 20 rebounds. The first 30-20 game for a Heat player since Shaquille O'Neal in 2006.
He continued to play hard. He continued to do what we needed him to do, and that was dominate.
Before going for their 11th straight win, the Heat signed Okaro White for the remainder of the season.
And then the phenomenon starts. They're 2 in Okaro. Hey, they're 6 in Okaro. And then this thing just starts to get rolling and rolling and rolling.
You don't even know how to lose while in a Miami Heat uniform. Is that the best way to put that?
Yeah, I would say that's the best way. We want to keep the thing rolling.
The Heat did keep it rolling and raining.
Dragic, a career high 7 for 7 from downtown.
While Goran Dragic enjoyed a career night in Minnesota, NBA veteran James Johnson continued to rejuvenate his career.
James Johnson tipped it in. You talk about extra effort.
Johnson became a key contributor off the Heat bench and led Miami to 2 more wins, including a season-high 26-point performance in Brooklyn.
Johnson got it to go. Oh, Booker's ankles got broken by JJ.
Coach Spo, hard talking about him without tearing up, so, you know, really appreciate him allowing me to get out the box.
The entire Heat team hustled their way to a 13th straight victory.
Magruder, look at the effort by Rodney. Respect it.
And while that streak ultimately came to an end in Philadelphia, it did mark the longest winning streak ever by an under 500 team.
The way that we bounced back, it just says a lot about this organization. We didn't have any quit in us.
It's a credit to the Heat culture of believing that winning matters.
That was a turnaround of our season. It feels like you reborn.
Wanting to go into the All-Star break on a high note, the Heat traveled to Houston to face the same team they beat to start their streak.
There's Tanner, yet another rebound.
They were not giving up. They were going to keep going until they scored.
Guys are coming together. Guys are family.
We built something that I've never been a part of before in this league.
Welcome back to Inside the Heat. Their stunning 13-game winning streak commanded national attention. It was, after all, the longest winning streak in NBA history for an under 500 team and the 3rd longest winning streak in franchise history. With 25 games remaining, the Heat entered the All-Star break as the NBA's hottest team with 14 wins in their last 16 games, all the while knowing their mission was far from over. Immediately following the break, Coach Spoelstra wanted one message to resonate with his players.
And the one thing that has been consistent about this organization is it's always about winning.
And the team took heed of that mantra with victories over Atlanta and Indiana. The Heat set a new franchise record, scoring at least 100 points for 16 consecutive games.
Everything is clicking for the Heat offense in that point in the season.
Oh my! James Johnson, the right side slam dunk. Waiters on the pitch. Ball moving for Miami. Tyler Johnson. Kaboom.
Together, the brothers Johnson helped ignite the energy off the bench, adding a dynamic dimension to the Heat.
Tyler Johnson back to James. Score it and a foul.
Johnson to Johnson.
With the offense clicking on all cylinders, the team's defense was as tenacious as ever. And one particular player gained the attention of many with his. From D-League star to a Miami Heat starter as a rookie, Rodney Magruder quickly earned the respect from his teammates and coaches.
He brings that toughness and the identity we have. How do we want to play? What's our habits? That guy.
After leading his team to an NBA best 12-1 record in February, including 7 straight wins, Coach Erik Spoelstra was named the Eastern Conference Coach of the Month.
He was in the trenches with us every single day. He has a way with his players that you can't really explain. You just have to witness, and you could see that when you saw us playing.
As Spoelstra coached his team to a historic turnaround, a new weapon for him that helped facilitate the offense.
Ellington squares the long shot. Got it from downtown. Well, the threes flowing here for Miami.
4, 5, 6 players can make three-pointers when you need it. And that's what made this team unique. Eventually, it reached the point where everyone was spacing the floor.
Going into their 63rd game of the season, the Heat were 2.5 games out of the number 8 spot as they battled their way back into playoff contention. And with the Cavaliers resting their 3 stars, the Heat turned it up en route to a 28-point victory against the defending champ.
Willie Reed missed it, Magruder hammered it down. Oh, boy.
Despite missing the brothers Johnson and heading to Cleveland to face a fully loaded Cavaliers team, the Heat did not take their foot off the pedal.
Babbitt, step back, wide open 3. Babbitt from downtown. Oh, you want to talk about confidence.
And as the confidence built, so did the Heat's lead. However, the defending champs would not go down easily, and in the fourth quarter made a late run, cutting into the Heat's 18-point lead.
Aaron Williams from the wing knocks it in. It is now a 5-point game.
With the final 30 seconds of the game winding down, the Heat were now searching for a way to seal the victory in Cleveland.
Josh Richardson. Now to Waiters. A long three. Waiters got it! Off the glass and in! Dion Waiters from way downtown.
If the rest of the league thought that Miami was going to go away quietly, I think that was the night where they all figured out that this Heat team was now legitimately in that playoff mix.
After winning their next two games, the Heat were now just one game behind Detroit for the 8th and final playoff spot, led by their own backcourt of Goran Dragic and Dion Waiters.
Waiters out on that left wing. Double clutch the shot. Oh, got it! From downtown, Dion Waiters again!
It's rare in the NBA to have two players who are as dynamic, driving to the basket, and particularly setting up shooters as Dion Waiters and Goran Dragic were when they were playing together.
And after missing one game with an eye injury, Goran returned against the Pelicans and led his team to victory with 33 points.
Dragic straight ahead. Dragic threw everyone. Scoop shot. Got it to go. Oh, the Dragon is on fire. Dragic behind his back. Oh, what a play by Dragic.
After winning their next game against the Timberwolves, the Heat were now just a half game out of the 8th spot. However, the Heat suffered a setback when Dion Waiters went down with an ankle injury.
When things like that happen to a player that's so integral to what we're doing right now, is it's tough, you know, but we're all in. Regardless of what happens, we don't make no excuses, and that toughness we built, it just carries on.
Welcome back to Inside the Heat. As the season was winding down, there was a buzz throughout South Florida over a Heat team that never gave up and battled all the way back in the playoff contention. They did suffer a setback, however, when Dion Waiters went down with a serious ankle injury in the middle of March. Miami would lose 3 of their next 4 games, and then appeared to have another potential setback when Eastern Conference Player of the Week Hassan Whiteside sliced open his shooting hand, an injury that required 13 stitches. But that did not sideline Miami's center, not in the middle of this tight playoff race where every game mattered.
The Miami Heat have an enormous game in Detroit against the Pistons. Looks like this playoff chase is going to go right down to the wire.
The Heat had to have this game. There were no two ways about it.
Miami was in full control in Detroit for the majority of the game and went into the fourth quarter with a 9-point lead.
James Johnson with 4 to shoot, drives in, what a dunk!
But the Pistons fought all the way back and took the lead in the final minutes.
Detroit kind of got momentum and looked like they were going to steal it when they came back toward the end.
Smith. Left open with a shot, got it. A 4-point lead now with 30 seconds left.
The Heat needed the improbable to happen after a technical foul on Detroit, a fearless jumper by Dragic, and a jump ball by the efforts of James Johnson. They were down by 1.
James Johnson, the pull-up jumper. Whiteside misses the tip. 3 seconds left. Dragic puts it up. Whiteside tips it in, and the Heat win the game.
I got one good hand, so I had to go with my one good hand, and I hope it don't let me down.
Next up, on a back-to-back, the Heat traveled to New York and dominated with 5 players scoring in double digits.
The season started out, we were strangers. Strangers became friends, and then friends became family.
Hoping to carry over that momentum, Miami returned home, but were unable to get wins against both New York and Denver, halting their playoff push.
We knew this for the last month. This would be one of the most difficult things we have to do.
With only 5 games left, the Heat played with urgency on the road in Charlotte.
Rodney McGruder drills a triple. Ellington for 3. Got it.
Everybody seemed to be shooting from the North Carolina border most of the night and making them.
Miami set a franchise record, draining 21 threes and securing another important victory.
The dream of the playoffs still alive.
Then they headed to Toronto, but fell short after rallying back from an 18-point deficit.
The Heat now fall a full game out of the 8th and final playoff spot, and they now face a virtual must-win game tomorrow night.
In what was essentially an elimination game, Miami's grit and determination came shining through at Washington.
Tyler Johnson, he hits from downtown.
We love each other, we play together, we in these trenches together.
In the hand of Big Game James. He got all the way to the rim and put the Heat ahead by 1.
But it was Whiteside's big play of 30 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 blocks, including the game-saving one, that helped the Heat stay alive.
Whiteside blocked it, and the Heat have won the game.
We understand that we still have an opportunity to reach our goal, but we're not there yet.
Needing another win back at home, the Heat faced the defending champion Cavaliers and were pushed to the brink.
Fry another three. The Cavs now just running away on Miami.
Climbing back from a 14-point deficit, the resiliency was evident.
Stolen by Jay Rich and a right-hand jam.
We know where we're at in our season. We know what it's come to, and we know what we have to do.
2 to shoot. Dragic lets it go and scores. We're going to overtime.
It was just a bunch of guys fighting for it all. We lost that game. Our chances would have ended that night.
And the Miami Heat keep the season alive with an overtime victory over the Cleveland Cavaliers.
In the final game of the season, the Heat laid it all on the line and won, finishing the season at 500. But unfortunately, it would not be enough to make the playoffs.
I don't know if I've ever felt this way about a team before.
I'm so proud of this team. I love this team so much.
I've never been on a team with guys who wanted to win more than they wanted to get their numbers ever in my life.
But for most of the players, it was a career year. The brothers Johnson, Richardson, Ellington, Babbitt, and Waiters all enjoyed personal best, while Whiteside set a franchise record for double-doubles and rebounds and became the first Heat player to ever lead the NBA in rebounding.
This team really stuck together and we developed a chemistry.
Underestimated a lot the value of having a good locker room. We didn't take it for granted, and I think that's what really made it special.
And with the leadership of Captain Udonis Haslem, the team stayed strong and focused.
This is the team that are most like me.
After what we showed we could do, people started to embrace it.
To open the season 11-30, and then the second part of the season you go 30-11. That's really unique.
I do love this team, and I love what we have built.
I'm not sure I've ever seen as compelling a regular season as what 16-17 Heat offered.
1, 2, 3.
The Heat finished the season just 1 win shy of the 20th playoff appearance in franchise history, but they did become the first team in NBA history to go from 19 games under 500 to finish the season at 500. Their 30-11 second half of the season was really a tribute to the quality of the coaching, the power of the Miami Heat culture, and the commitment from those players to form one of the most likable and respected teams the Heat has ever had. They played for each other, for a coaching staff that never stopped believing, and for a fan base called Heat Nation that will long remember the 2016-17 season. And thank you for enjoying this recap edition of Inside the Heat. I'm Eric Reed.